What's going on, Fast Turn Radio watchers, listeners, replay catchers? Gompers, what's up, man? Gomper's doing some cool stuff. Don't know if he's going to join us tonight, but he is. There's Gompers now. So he shot me some messages today. I'm excited for him, proud of him. He's been working his butt off on a little special niche that he's kind of cutting out for himself. And there are no limits to what you can do in this business if you choose to. It's all up to you. How you want to make money, how you want to present yourself, what kind of products you want to sell. It just, seriously, any way you want to make money, the opportunity is there. And Brandon is doing an awesome job of carving out his own little niche. Let's see. KIB, are you here? I think I heard. Not yet? All right.
Yes, I'm here.
You are here. See, I should see you somewhere. We've got too many screens up. Let me see how this is going to be weird on video because now I'm just going to like the Brady Bunch view, which is awful. And why? Page 2 of 3. Oh, my God, you drew such a crowd. I can't flip through everybody and find you. I know you're in here somewhere. You got to be. I hear you. I just can't find you. This is
okay.
Good. All right. You know what? Let's go to speaker view. Okay. Say something.
Hi, Duane.
Oh, come on. It's supposed to pop up. It should like bring you to the forefront when you speak. I'm just going to flip through all this stuff until I find you.
Okay. I'm so sorry. I'm not as familiar as I should be.
It's okay.
Do you want me to start video? Would that help?
Yes, that would help tremendously. There you go.
Okay. There I am.
That's why I couldn't see you.
Okay. Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. Hey, KIB, how are you?
I am good. Thank you, Duane.
The wise and wonderful Karen. For those of you that don't know, and I can't pronounce your name, if you want to say your name, you can. I will never try to pronounce it. But
it's actually very phonetic. Isger and Bergsagel.
Bergsagel.
Oh,
all right.
But Karen works just fine.
All right. We'll stick with Karen. I can handle that one. So I'm excited to have you on the show tonight. We have all kinds of stuff to talk about. Recap of some of the back to school, which back to school is still selling. I mean, I was looking at my numbers today, and a lot of it's not over by any means. So anybody that thinks back to school, no, we still got another. I'm guessing we got a solid week, maybe even a couple of weeks. And then we'll have, of course, Christmas is kind of the second coming of back to school. Not quite as big, but definitely sales. So we can talk a little bit about that, talk about a little of how to prepare for Q4, because apparently you don't like fast turns. I don't get it, but we're going to discuss alternative sourcing methods to just fast turns. It doesn't really make sense to me, but I'm going to keep an open mind. I'm going to see what we can come up with here and see what you got. But yeah, Michael Flanagan saying back to school is still rocking. Lunch bags for back to school. Yeah, back to school is incredible. And I broke down, well, we can get to that. I broke down some of the numbers, and you were responsible for a good chunk of sales. About 10% of our sales directly related or directly as a result of some of the information you shared. So I just want to say
thank you.
Thank you. That was just straight up money in my pocket. That's awesome. All right. So what would you like to start with? Since you're the guest,
do you want to go over your numbers and everything first?
Sure.
And then I think everyone should know that you and I are actually having this conversation, this discussion about what I call developing an inventory portfolio, essentially for the first time. So they get to be flies on the wall listening. And there's no winners or losers in this discussion. It's just a question of what works for individuals. But why don't you do your analysis as you usually do?
I sure will. And yeah, I mentioned to you last night that this month, honestly, was the first month where I went, man, I've got a full grasp of what fast turns is and how it can apply to your business. I mean, I've always kind of seen it, it's come naturally, but man, you open my eyes to so many possibilities and so much stuff that's out there. And it's not just seasonal, and it's not just in this category or that category. The more I talked with you and with the other young guns, and because for anyone that doesn't know, I've proclaimed us honorary members, even though, Odd Goose Matt, Todd, and Harvey are the original Young Guns, whatever. We're allowed to play in their group. So
right.
We are honorary members. But you guys showed me that there's just an array of categories and products that can be found. And we're going to cover some of that now that it would have just never crossed my mind. You know, I was stuck with just back to school. Okay, you know, this is the season for back to school. And I would have done half the sales that I did if I just focused on that. So you guys made a tremendous difference in my business. So, all right, let's, enough talking. Let's get to the numbers. All right, hopefully you see my screen. And I know the people watching the replay can't see it because the little sidebar is conveniently covering the actual numbers when you watch this on the replay. But our 7-day has slipped a little bit. And you know what? I'm okay with it slipping a little bit, honestly, to $13,000, almost $500. 15 days, $33,697, and our 15-day. And our 30-day is $64,805. That will cross $65,000 tonight. There is no doubt in my mind. We've been running, well, you see, you know, 31-day month, and we did over 63,000. We've been running a steady $2,000 a day. Yesterday was 1,900. Today will probably be a little over 2,000. So still going strong, which personally I find amazing because we had never done a $2,000 day outside of Q4 and Prime Day. You know, so just like a regular day, and suddenly we're hitting 2,000, 3,000 just consistently. I went, wow, this is a whole different way of doing things. Of course, then Nagu shows you, you know, he can do in a week what most people are excited about doing in a month. And it just skews your whole perspective on things, but whatever. You know, you can only compare yourself to you. Don't worry about what your competition's doing, what others are doing. Use it as inspiration. Understand it can be done. Don't get down on yourselves or don't be too hard on yourself about it. The big number that was exciting was our $21,000 payout. That was a little over 5 days ago. That was like last Friday. So we're at 6,000 now. We're not going to keep that pace. I don't think that's quite possible unless something changes dramatically very quickly. And I have not sent enough inventory in this week to make that happen. But a $20,000 payday, that was pretty cool. Let's get over to the business reports. All right, so on the day, we're at 1,700 right now. You see we did the 1,900 yesterday. That's been pretty consistent. The categories are all over the place. Today is there's about 10 of them that we've gone through: kitchen and toys, sports, outdoor, beauty, grocery, home appliance, outdoors, office products and supplies, clothing, and shoes. We sold 1 pair of shoes and 1 clothing item. Not really selling as much of that as we have been, but that's okay. Take a look at, we can't look at month to date. Let's take a look back at last month. Because I'm excited to share this with you guys. I wanted to last week, and I was just too tired after driving back from Tennessee, which is a whole nother story. That was a whirlwind trip, and I was a little beat last week. So thank you guys for understanding I needed a day off. But here we go. Okay, so see, a little bit different numbers. It depends when you capture these things. I guess some things got canceled. But roughly 63,000 again for last month. I thought we had a great month last year in August. You know, that's when I found wholesale and things kind of boomed to all of $19,000. This year we did 63,000. You know, last year we sold 1,000 units. This year we sold 3,000 units in August. It blew my mind what we were able to accomplish. And again, no small part to KIB and the Young Guns, Michael Flanagan, Chris Manise, and REA. All those guys came together to help and assist in all this. There's no way I could have done it by myself. The categories, again, you can see them there. I'm not going to read through them, but all pretty much the same stuff. You know, a lot of toys. The toys would be the back to school stuff. The kitchen, a lot of that is back to school. Sports and outdoors, you know, and then shoes. You see, we sold 75 pairs of shoes. Definitely, as kids are going back to school, shoes picked up. We sold a bunch of the Heelys that we had bought back in April, And, you sat on them for a couple of months, but hey, when time came, it was nice to have that stock in place, and it took off. So maybe that kind of plays into a little bit of what you want to talk about tonight, Karen, with buying ahead of time. Now, I will tell you this. I had no intention of having Heelys from April until August. That was not a design plan. That is not the way I like to do things, but it's the way it worked out. So, hey, at the end of the day, I was happy. It's just something I have a tough time wrapping my mind around. Let's see. Brandon said, "How does prep service work?" Paula, I'll let Karen explain prep services in a little bit, because she uses them a lot more than I do. The only prep that I did was sending stuff to Michael and letting him send it in for me, which is essentially how it happens. But I'll let her walk you through all that, because she has much more experience with how to utilize a prep service. Audrey says, such a great increase over last year. Absolutely. It was amazing. So Brendan said, if you used a prep service, you would triple those numbers. Oh, okay. That's where the question from Paula came from. Possibly. I don't doubt that, because I did have a lot of stuff that I sent to Michael that I didn't have to touch, and he didn't have to do a lot with, which was nice, because part of what I do is commingled inventory. So if I can order from a wholesaler, commingle that inventory, it arrives, and I intentionally order by case packs and master cartons if possible. So these things land. There's no prep work to them whatsoever. You put a shipping label on them and they go right back out the door. It's amazing. So I tried to do that as much as I could, and it worked out well. Brendan, I don't doubt that prep service could help tremendously. I just have not used them. I don't do a lot of online arbitrage, which I think is where prep service is most useful, unless you have one locally. Now, I would love to have somebody like John Grillo has a setup where he can just drop his stuff off to Tony Patty, like locally, and go back to shopping. Now, if I could get somebody to just turn that stuff around locally as quickly as you guys do, man, I would love it. Teresa does a great job, but she's just one person. She cannot prep everything that I drop off in a day. All right, Michael says, lots of stuff for the 4 of us delivered to my warehouse and prepped and shipped right back out again. Yeah, Michael's turnaround time was incredible. It was insane. So great job on his part, and debt of gratitude for being able to do what you did, man. It just timing is so important when you're talking about seasonal items. You do not want to sit around on inventory waiting for the prep service to get your stuff out, or even like me, I've got a garage full of lunch boxes right now. That is not a good place to have them. They should be on their way to Amazon, but I haven't gotten them out in the last couple of days. So there they sit in my garage, making me absolutely no money. It's not a good way to do things. Get stuff out, get it bought, get it in, get it sold. Let's take a look at, if you guys have any specific questions, just fire them away. But let's take a look at the year to date, because this is the road to 500K. And I am fully confident that we are absolutely going to crush 500K. It's almost not possible to miss it at this point. Can you send master carton to Amazon? I was told to break down the master carton. I sent dozens of them. Yes, absolutely. I'm not telling you it's not against policy. I don't know. I'm just telling you, I sent master cartons, and some of them I told them, it's a case of 6 and there's 4 cases that I'm sending, and they all came in a box. There were some instances where I said, you're going to get 24 of these, and same thing. They were still in their smaller cases and in the master carton quantity, but I didn't have any issues. I got 0 receiving flags for any of that. So as far as I know, sending a master carton is not an issue. But if Amazon policy says not to do it, decide for yourself what you want to do, I guess. And again, you can see just a whole list of categories. We sell everything under the sun. We did get approved in luggage, which is nice, because unbeknownst to me, I sold 13 luggage items, and I did not actually, source luggage. My guess is those are backpacks that I did source that landed in the luggage category. So it's good to be ungated in clothing and luggage. if you're going to sell some of the back to school stuff, because you just don't know what category it's truly going to come up under. And it may start out in toys, a character backpack may start out in toys and end up in one of the other gated categories. People do funny things to try to eliminate competition. So it is, and it's getting easier and easier to get approved. So I would strongly encourage everybody as we go into Q4, just to have the options open, get ungated. So anyway, that's where we are on the road to 500K. We are at 239,000 on the year. Yeah, I don't see any way that we don't make 500K with Q4 coming up. So, all right, any questions whatsoever, or can we just get to KIB, who everybody's actually here to talk to? No questions. All right, I am going to stop the screen share. And John said, can he get a loan? All right. KIB, Karen.
Hey.
Now we get to actually talk. So you have a strategy. What'd you call it again? You had a fancy name for it.
Oh, I called it an inventory portfolio. I made that term up.
Oh, I like that. Inventory portfolio. All right. What exactly goes into creating an inventory portfolio?
Okay. Well, I began as a used bookseller, and that's an interesting way of starting because there's very little cost in the books that you buy. So you can experiment with rank very easily, for instance, and find out, what rank can tell you and what rank can't tell you. And so I learned very early on that just knowing the rank and the price and, even the number of sellers of a book doesn't matter. You have to know what the book is about, who's going to possibly want. Is the rank high because nobody wants this book? Is the rank high because it's overpriced? Is the rank high because only once in a while someone comes along and wants it, but when they want it, they'll pay you $100 for it? So with that as background, I tend to look at all of my inventory like that, even though obviously I pay more for retail arbitrage. I get quite irritated with people in groups who will say something like, outdoor category, rank 54,000, I can buy for $10 and sell for 30. Should I? And I'm like, well, what is the product? The numbers don't tell me enough. So I try to keep in touch with what the actual products in my inventory are. I pretty much never buy just by numbers. And the times when I do, I tend to regret it because I don't know enough about what I'm doing. I do best when, this sounds so wishy-washy and woo-woo or something, but I do best when I can unleash my intuition, whatever that is. And I was thinking about it today because I knew I'd be talking to you tonight. And I think it's just the kind of everything that you learn along the way and then start to take for granted. So that what look to you when I make buying decisions like wild leaps of faith actually have a grounding in reality. You and I were looking at a pair of socks last night. I know that I just sold for $50 and paid $17 for. And it's true, I could have sold them a couple of months ago for $30 probably. And I guess that would have been the fast turn model. I would still have been making money. I would have gotten, $5 to $10 out right away to reinvest. But I can't work like that. I'm not as young as you. I'm not as strong as you. I don't have as big a car as you have. I don't have a trailer like you. So I really have to leverage my time almost more than my money. So as far as I'm concerned, by the time I have sourced something, had it prepped, shipped it to FBA, I've done most of the work. And that's the point where I want the product to start working for me. And if I had gotten that money out 2 months ago, I would have felt like I was on a hamster wheel. Okay, I've got it back. Now what do I do with it? Whereas instead, I also have this theory. I should talk to someone smart like Harvey and sort this all out. But it's almost like there's a critical mass of inventory that you reach where something is always selling. Because one thing people forget about books and I know books best, but a book can have a rank of 3 or 4 million, and people look and they think, oh, that means it sells only once or twice a year. Well, sure, that may be true, but it doesn't mean you have to wait 6 months for that sale. It could be that that's going to sell tomorrow. And by the time you have enough of those in your inventory across all product ranges, some of that stuff is always selling. And so if I can buy something for $17 and wait an extra couple of months to sell it for $50 and sell it for $30, it's well worth it to me. Now I'm distracted because a goose's smiling face has just come up on the screen.
Yeah, I'm trying to mute him. Hang on just a second.
It's okay.
I'm probably going to... There. Okay, now he's muted. Yeah, it's tough to miss that face, especially when you just know the person behind it.
I know. Actually, I think he probably just had something put that up. I don't believe he's actually at home watching this. No, you and I both know he's out shopping.
Yeah, he popped in earlier saying he was out shopping. So yeah, he's you know full well. I mean, he'll start sending pictures at 1:30 in the morning. I'll talk about, hey guys, go buy this now. No, I'm sleeping or I'm going to bed or whatever. But yeah, there have been days when I woke up and he was just going to bed.
Right.
Like, you're crazy. So yeah, anyway.
Yeah. He works all shifts. So for me, I hate that hamster wheel feeling of, oh, okay, August was awesome, but now what am I going to sell in September? Well, I looked and I'm selling stuff I bought 6 months ago. I'm selling stuff I bought a year ago, for that matter. And it works for me. I don't think it works well when you're just getting established, unless, like me, you're beginning as a used bookseller and, you have essentially no costs associated with it. And it's not that I never do fast turns. And you opened my eyes to that. I remember last year, the lesson that stood out most clearly for me was I was in Target and they had just stocked that, standard frozen Elsa doll. So the shelves were completely full. But I was only going to make $5 on each one. And there was a time when I would have just turned up my nose and walked past them. But instead, I cleared the shelves completely, lined them all up like, an army of Elsas in a box, shipped them in, and sold them all within a week. And that was a lot of fun. But I wouldn't always want to be doing that because I just don't have the resources for that, basically. I guess the other thing in product selection is that I tend not to avoid fad things. I tend to avoid fad things because I'm not agile enough to ship them in, or I just don't understand them. A t-shirt that says showing thugs love may sell really well, but it's just, not something I understand. So I'm not going to bother with it. But when it comes to something like right now, I'm selling lunch bags. And I can buy them in limited quantities all year long for $10. And they sell for 20 to 25. So I can always liquidate them and make money on them. But if I have to, I know now that what comes out as patterns are limited. And so, for instance, I know that if I see one with a rooster on it, people are always keen on that pattern. And next year they won't be able to get it. So they'll probably pay $35 for it. And it's small, it's light, it's a quality product. People always need it. So, I buy it when I see it and hold it. And I know you'd be breaking out in hives if you knew you had those in your garage.
I would. I actually remember one of the buys that you made in Threads and Treads, and you said you bought like 130 of them. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about.
Right. Yeah.
And you were like, no, this is going to be a great gift. These things are going to fly at the right time. And I was like, how do you know? How in the world can you look at this thing that the numbers didn't really line up, the money wasn't really there? I was like, I don't get it. But sure enough, fast forward, about 2 months after that, and you showed, 10 of them were bought by one person, and you went, yeah, see, told you. It's a difference. It made sense. I was like, I guess, give me the stuff that's ranked like 400 in toys. I know I'm going to sell 10 of them,
Right.
That's no problem.
Well, and obviously there are categories where you can't do this. I don't sell a lot of grocery. If you have to worry about expiration dates.
Yeah, you do not want to learn to hold. Yeah.
No, definitely not. If you've got the limited edition frosted caramel apple Pop-Tarts, you need to ship them in and sell them right away. So I stay away from those. But I guess the other thing, Duane, is that this job can be so much fun. But it's up to each one of us to make it fun for ourselves. And one of the ways I make it fun for me, I guess, is by making product sourcing. It's almost like a continuing scavenger hunt or something. If I'm in the Southwest and I see something with a jackalope on it, for instance, I'll think, oh, people are probably walking past that all the time, not thinking anything about it. But they don't realize that back in Virginia, we never see jackalopes. That particular mug comes with a musket on it instead, for instance. And so just that kind of opening your eyes to what's there.
Yeah.
I enjoy research. I probably spend too much time researching and digging into the catalog and the rest of it. But it's a trade-off. It's kind of, I think within our group, I'm probably the sort of go-to person for where do I find this, or what is this, or what's the ASIN. And then in return, I get tips on, what I can go to the store and buy right now and sell right now.
Yeah, I am definitely not a research person. It drives me nuts to sit in front of a computer. 5 minutes in, I'm just like, no, let me go buy something. That's why I'm terrible at OA. I don't have the patience, and the research, none of that. The way you find UPCs, I scan it doesn't come up. We finally as a group figured out Ask KIB, because she knows all the UPCs, or at least can find them quickly. So here we were leaving money on the shelf, and shoot you a message, and you're like, yeah, that sells for about $120. Oh, good. I left 2 of them at the store that I'll probably have to go back to because it was a long way away. That's awful. But yeah, so you have the database of knowledge, but you hit on something that I've really noticed in my own business as we've kind of grown over the last few months, especially once we started hitting the 30 and 35,000, and last month was just kind of a whole lot of things coming together. But our inventory was running about 2,000 units at the beginning of the year. Our inventory now is somewhere between 4,000 and 5,000. I think about 4,500. We have not hit 5,000, but there is a definite correlation just in the amount of stuff you have and your sales. And I don't know how to what that critical mass, to use the word that you use or the phrase. I don't know what the critical mass is, but it is obviously there. You
right.
your inventory, you're going to double your sales, double your ASP, you're going to double your sales. You have some options. August, it had like a $35 or $40 ASP, which, greatly helps when you're doing $160,000 in a month. Oh my God. That was, I don't, and anyone that, he doesn't have a team. It's him and his wife. You guys have no idea. He will make you feel so lazy. But, I don't know what his inventory looks like. I know that mine has had to grow tremendously because my ASP is nowhere near what his is. I'm still around the 22 mark. I want it to get higher. I'm working on getting it higher. And that's something that Matt and Todd showed me when we did the scan van trip. They were like, dude, you want to buy this? I was like, that thing's like $80. They're like, yeah, but it's going to sell for 150 and you're going to make $40 and you're going to be happy, and buy this. It's 25. It's going to sell for 55. Kind of opened my eyes to buying some of that more expensive stuff that still sells well. It's not, and that's the other thing. I had a hard time grasping who's going to pay $150 for this item, whether it's an appliance or handbags or shoes or any of the high priced stuff, but it's there. And you guys have shown me, you send the screenshots, and that's just a different way of looking at things too. Because what I've done a lot in my business was low price, fast moving, but it's a lot of work. You're right. It is a ton of work to keep churning that much inventory at a $20 price point. So I'm trying to grow our inventory. I'm trying to grow the ASP. So, I'm kind of shifting focus to trying to get some of that more expensive stuff. And I don't know what the answer is. I wish I did, of exactly how much inventory do you need to sell this kind of, I don't know. I'm not that smart.
Right.
Let Harvey go crunch those numbers.
Right. My rule of thumb was, and I've probably let it slip to some extent, although I think it's still pretty close. When I list stuff, I expect about a third of it to sell within 30 days, another third to sell within 90 days, and the other third will take longer. But you have to understand that a certain amount of that is long tail books. So it's not like I'm, it's a whole different animal. I also had a question privately about my thought process and research for holding those socks. The socks went along with a popular movie, and I really liked the movie a lot. And the teachers that I talked to said they felt like it had, quote unquote, pedagogical legs, and that it was going to be a classic for parents and therapists and teachers and librarians for some time to come. So I started looking at the products that were associated with it, and I really liked the socks. And I noticed that the size large went out of stock almost immediately online. And in fact, our friend Todd, the Todd Father Forster, managed to locate a pair for me in store and presented them to me in Orlando. So I have my own set. And I bought the small and the medium, and the medium seemed to be getting scarcer and scarcer. And I knew that the large had sold out. So I kept the small at a reasonable price and raised the price on the medium. And sure enough, I waited and they'd sold out. And I'm selling about a pair a day. And I think it's a back to school phenomenon. I think that while it's a luxury, it's what I think of as an affordable luxury. You can't get your kid a new pony, but maybe you can get them a very special set of socks, one pair for each day of the week, and it's a special kind of I love you sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that answers the question I was asked, or.
No, I think that makes a lot of sense. And I think you're right. There's a certain amount, pretty much everybody has $20. Not everybody has $1,000. Somewhere in there is that, hey, we've got enough to splurge without, totally breaking the bank. So yeah, splurge might be a $50 item or a $100 item.
Right. But I guess the important point for me is that if the only information I had was kid socks, rank 50,000, 5 sellers, and the buy box price, I mean, how can you possibly make a decision with that kind of information? As far as I'm concerned, you can't. And I think that's why I'm really bad at the categories where that's what you have to do. In groceries, HBA, a lot of, industrial and scientific, the commodity sort of things. I have no grasp of that whatsoever. I would lose my shirt if that were what I was doing. Not to mention the fact that, I'm not going to get a warehouse and start dealing with pallets and think that working up bills of lading for LTS is fun. I mean, those are not my strengths. I think it's great that they are other people's strengths, but it would be a complete waste of time for me to spend my time doing that. I'd get it wrong.
Yeah, I am a true scanner monkey. I mean, in the every sense of the term. Oh, you don't really know anything. You just go scan and, you buy. That's how I learned this business was, hey, scan it. And if it's a low rank and there's not a ton of sellers and I've learned to evaluate sellers or competition versus sellers. Something can have 50 sellers, but if only 5 of them are sharing the buy box, I have 5 competitors. I don't have 50. And I started to learn what one sale a day was. That helped me a lot with, grocery, especially. I've sold a ton of grocery and toys. Those are my 2 top categories. When I get into those, I need to know what one a day is. And then you can kind of do the math to start to figure out, well, if, 20,000 in grocery is 1 a day, 10,000 is going to be somewhere between 2 and 3. I mean, it's not exact, but it's probably going to sell 3 a day. 5,000, well, we should start hitting probably close to 10 a day. And then you can look at how many people are actually selling that. So there's 5 sellers that's selling 10 a day. I'm going to sell 2 a day of this thing. Now, can I buy 100 of them? Yes, I can, because my expiration dates are 4 months out, and that's only a 2-month sell through. I should be good. And you make the buy. That's how my mind works, just because I'm not smart enough to do what you do. And I don't think it's got anything to do with smart. Some of the smartest people I know are good at that. It's just that it's like my eyes glaze over and my brain shuts down. I mean, what you were saying about researching. I mean, if I had to sit there and think, okay, I'm going to sell, this many of this, it's a leather men's toiletry kit was the TNT product you were thinking about. I think I bought almost 200 of them. And big uptick for Father's Day, big uptick in June because they're good groomsmen's gifts, big uptick for graduation, big uptick for back to school, I think for college kids, and I'm sure I'll sell the rest at Christmas. I like selling stuff like that because it's good quality, I don't get returns, it's good value for the money. The rest of it. But if I'd had to sit there and think, well, I'm going to sell this many a day, I just can't do that. I just think, do I have enough money to buy this? And is there anything better I could be doing with that money right now? Yeah.
And since I'm the one who gets to make the decisions, I'm always right.
Isn't that wonderful? Well, and we always turn to you for guidance anyway. We know how right you are. And
well, No, I get it wrong too. I
Not
get it
often.
wrong
Only,
too.
only when you ask, my opinion. That's when you get it wrong. Suddenly you end up
No,
with 300
stop
different
putting yourself down.
but no, that's one thing that you really got me kind of keyed on is it a quality product? Because, just selling the cheap junk because it sells, I don't really like doing that. I much prefer the quality items and knowing that the customer's going to be happy once they receive it. Yes, they're going to pay a premium for it, but they're going to get the sorry, I'm trying to mess with some of the setting. They're going to get the value in the product. So they're not going to be upset when they pay $100 for that item that is made of leather, well stitched, brand name. Honestly, I don't remember what you were selling them for, but just as a random number, you sell that kind of stuff. I've gotten away from selling the cheap junk that is just, yeah, it sells, it's quick, but there's no value in it, and it's 2-star ratings, and people return them left and right. Well, that's a bad way to do business. Yeah, you sold a bunch of them, your numbers look like you sold a bunch of them, that's great, but if you get half of them back, those coffee makers that I sold, but those things.
Well, that was the worst of both worlds.
Oh
They
my God.
weren't cheap and
Yeah, they were expensive and low quality.
yeah.
Awesome. Let me just buy more of those. So sometimes you just get it wrong, but I thought they were good quality. But yeah, I don't like having disappointed customers or feeling like I took advantage of a customer. And you definitely don't do that. You go for the quality products. You go for the solid goods. And Matt PM'd me last night, and he's like, "Hey, would you buy this?" And it was a total KIB moment. I looked, it had 3 reviews, 2 1-stars and 1 2-star. Somebody even had a picture of it, and like the labeling was peeling off of it, and it was horrible. I was like, "No, man, it's just a bad product. I don't care you're buying it for $1 and you can sell it for 12. That's a bad product." It's like, cool. I won't touch them then. Now that's only $100 investment, but you could just, everything about it said you're going to have an unhappy customer. And so I appreciate your guidance on that. And I have definitely changed a lot of what I source just based on, I don't want the cheap junk. I do pay more attention to reviews than I used to, especially the stuff that I'm kind of on the fence about. And you definitely have a different thought process. But I wanted to touch on something real quick, because I saw somebody ask, was the 4,000 number of units, or is that SKUs? I have approximately, I looked at it today, I think 178 SKUs and a little over 4,200 units. So I buy very deep on a lot of things. I'm not afraid to test with 100, where I used to test with 5. If everything lines up, I go through the analytics the way that I do, this many sellers, this rank should sell this many a day. Yeah, I'll take 100 of them and it should sell out in a month. I don't mind doing that. So, to answer, I think it was Tristan that asked that question. But yeah, I have a little over 4,000 units, about 178 SKUs. I go very deep on just a few things versus wide. And I'm changing some of that too. Another thing that I've kind of learned from you and a goose who buys like everything. Or he does both. He goes deep, he goes wide. But anyway, that answer, just want to answer that real quick. And what about, how do you buy, I guess you buy deep on occasion. You buy 200 of the little bathroom kit things. So
I don't usually buy deep unless I can buy something out. Okay. And as you know, Amazon used to be a good place to be able to do that, not so much anymore. But if I'm buying deep, I want to control whatever the product is, if I can, or attempt to.
That makes sense. Yeah, and Leron said we bought that flip deep. Yeah, that was one of the flips that we went in with him, and we took out several hundred units, I believe it was.
Yeah.
Maybe 400 units or so. Yeah,
that was fun.
And again, that you said, hey, this is a quality item. Yeah, we're getting it at a great price, and yes, it really is going to sell at that higher price. And hopefully, you're right. I'm banking on you.
I hope so too.
We'd all stand to make a lot of money if you were correct. And Leron said, me too. So yeah, and Leron, thanks for bringing that to us. That was awesome. There's kind of a rush that comes along with that too. I mean, when you,
That's the scary thing, is that it can be hard to distinguish what's the rush and what's an actual sensible business decision.
yeah,
And I've made some mistakes as a result of that. Doing it in a group can kind of compound it. It's hard to know if that helps you sort of put the brakes on, or if you all just go crazy together. It can work both ways.
yeah, and I definitely got excited about one flip that did not, or not a flip. It was, I bought it wholesale, but that did not turn out well. And who was the one person that said, "I'm not touching it"? We said, "No, but here's the money." You were like, "Not a believer." So, about 10 of us bought in, and KIB is the only one that didn't buy in and said, "No, I don't think it's good." Now we're all sitting there just, in the dirt with this stuff.
Yeah, but I get it wrong too.
Nah, not often.
Sure.
When did you sit out on a good one? When did you pass and go, "Wow, I really should have bought in on that"?
Okay.
Yeah, see, exactly. You don't.
Yeah. Okay. I still make mistakes.
I'm sure you make mistakes, but you do not do them on a large scale. That's awesome. What's Matt talking about? Roxy pants. Any idea? See, just throwing stuff out there. I have no idea.
Roxy? Huh.
I don't know. Moving on. I don't know. I'll show you then.
Oh! I know what he's talking about. Yeah,
Okay.
it was something he bought and I didn't.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
I was
evidently they've done well, which is good. Fortunately,
right.
I'm always happy for others.
He said, "I keep score." That's awesome.
Okay, there was a question about using credit. I do use credit cards, but I pay them off in full. Duane doesn't actually believe that anyone does that, but honestly, I think it's just plain stupid to pay interest on credit cards. They're all set up for automatic payments, and I have them because I like the perks. It works for me. I can understand your position as well. So I don't really think there needs to be a debate about credit. I mean, it's just...
Yeah, people should be fairly familiar with my stance. And
yeah,
I thought you were going to say,
it's a peace of mind sort of thing. I mean, for instance, I'm pretty sure that I'm a laughing stock for the fact that I will probably continue to use Feedvisor, even though it is far more expensive than AppEagle. But it makes me happy. There's a peace of mind that comes with knowing that I understand how my repricer works for me, that is worth paying more for. Again, it's one of those things about how different minds think differently. And I don't have the kind of mind that can set up different profiles in AppEagle for stuff. It's just not going to work for me. Whereas I know this works, and I'm willing to compromise on other stuff to do that. And sure, you can call it a bad business decision. And if you're just looking at the money, it is a bad business decision. But if it gives me peace of mind, it's a good business decision. And I think credit is exactly the same way. Using credit would not give you peace of mind. And there's no amount of money that can make up for that for you. There's no flight to anywhere, no free hotel night that's going to help with that.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, because it wouldn't be free in my mind. It doesn't work for me. But that's okay. I thought you were going to say you thought I was stupid for not using credit cards. So I'm just glad you went a little bit different direction with that.
Yeah. No, I mean,
but yeah, it is definitely a peace of mind. Just so much of this business is truly personal. It's just your preference, whether it's App Eagle or FeedVisor, whether it's Scan Power or what is it, Scoutify? I think it's Scoutify. I don't know, Inventory Labs deal. They all kind of do the same thing, but which one are you happy with? I think that's huge. Sourcing. People say, well, why don't you do more online? Why are you spending time in the stores? Because that's what I enjoy doing. I hate looking at a computer screen for hours and hours and hours. So I'm going to go in the stores because that's where I'm comfortable. That's where I have fun. And I think that's why we do this. Isn't that why we put up with the taxes and the headaches of this business?
But you really lost. You really lost the way for a long time, Duane? How did that happen?
I got lazy. You know what happened? I got coaching income. I got lazy. I said, I don't have to go to the stores. I've got this money coming in, and I was fine with it. Last month, I'll tell you, I won't give you guys the numbers, but I'll tell you this. Last month, I had the highest ever single month of coaching income and highest ever payout non-Q4, okay? And really our third highest payout ever. So basically last month, I made more money on both fronts than I ever had before. And that was just awesome.
But you know what? It may not be a coincidence. It could be that getting out in stores more and working your business harder makes you a better coach. I mean, you have more to offer. Yeah, I did want to circle back to something we put off, which was using a prep service.
Oh, yes, please do.
I know you were kind of dropping your jaw last night about the prep service. As I said, I face the challenge of being one person. I'm a lone wolf by nature. I really prefer working alone. I've, had to do lots of supervision and raising of children and so on in the past. I just really don't need more of that in my life now. I certainly don't want a warehouse. I like working at home. I like being able to work at home. Having a prep service for all of my OA has just changed things radically. And it is at the point now where the only thing I do is place orders. After that, Brendan and the folks at PZP, Prime Zero Prep, and I've been up there and seen the operation, although not the new warehouse. I'm going to have to take another trip for that. But I know exactly what happens, which is that my stuff is delivered in boxes from wherever I've ordered it to Prime Zero Prep. They have an employee whose only job is to open the boxes, take out what's in them, put them in the bins of the appropriate clients, and segregate them by what needs prep and what doesn't need prep. Things that need prep are prepped by their prepper, go back in the bin, and then when there's enough to put a shipment together, Brendan takes it all, and he has limited user permissions on my account. He lists everything, and that includes things that don't have scannable barcodes. He's been a seller himself, so he knows how to find, the Disney store listings, how to decide which is the correct listing and, which is the faux listing. And he lists everything. He labels everything. He packs everything. He weighs everything. He generates the UPS labels. I mean, it's outsourcing.
I had no idea that he was.
It's luxurious.
Yeah, I didn't know that he was logging in, creating your shipments. He's doing everything for you. I had no idea. I thought you were still, doing the sending PDFs back and forth kind of thing. which
well, and that, I mean, I do pay extra for this level of service. I'm not sure if they call it the white glove service or the champagne on a silver platter
no,
service,
I
or
think it's
what,
the KIB service.
or what they call it. No, Mitchell does he does the same thing with Mitchell's inventory as well. But I mean, different people want different levels of control over what they're doing. But you know, one of the trade-offs you have to make in this business, if you're going to scale, is control. And that's not so easy.
No, it is definitely not easy.
But having a partner like Brendan, who I know is very detail oriented and on top of everything and probably catches things that I wouldn't catch, makes it a lot easier.
All right, we're just about at the end of the show. I got a couple of things to talk about. So thank you for all the insights. I appreciate it. I am not kicking you off camera. I just need to start wrapping things up.
Good.
But no, amazing information. Man, I don't know how to get to where you're at in the mindset of the long-term stuff, but I'm going to try it. You know,
Duane, you've got 23 years to catch up to me, honey.
Is that what it is?
Uh-huh.
Well, I hope in 23 years I am even close, but I know right now I am not. So I got to keep doing what comes naturally to me, and I will try to work a little bit of the KIB in there as we go along. Because I did not tell you this. I actually looked it up. $5,500 of the sales went back directly to you last month, and then indirectly about $6,600. So yeah, I'm going to listen to you. That was and it's still selling. I mean, it's not done, but yeah, I went, wow, that's like 10% of the sales straight back to you. Incredible.
That's good. And you know, that's such a testament to sharing.
Yeah.
Because I don't think you got those $6,000 in sales on my back. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't lose any sales in order for you to get sales. That's the extraordinary thing.
Yeah, it's and that's kind of the cool thing with RA especially is there's only so much inventory in your area. You can only get so much of it, and you know when it's gone, it's gone.
Right. God help you if you live near a goose, because it's already gone.
Yeah. Goose. He's banned from Georgia. Pennsylvania. Virginia, parts of Virginia. Yeah, that poor guy. And yet he's still like out there just absolutely killing it. But all right, a couple of the announcements. Real quick, Threads and Treads. Normally we are only open to new members on the first of the month. We are changing that for this month only. So we are going to be open from September 1st till September 30th to new enrollees. So if you want to join, you have all month to join. But October 1st, we are closing down to new members all the way till February 1st. So we are going to shut down all of fourth quarter and all of January because we are going to focus on helping the people that are in the group. And we're not going to do so much of the coaching and answering new member questions. So it's all just going to be based on let's go make money. So if you guys want to join Threads and Treads, if you planned on joining later in the year, understand this is your only opportunity this month. So get in now, lock it in, be in position to make lots and lots of money come Q4. The other one is Scanner Monkey TV is Mindy is gonna be on there tomorrow, I believe. I think he is part of the show, right? I think he is the show. He's got a huge announcement that you guys will not want to miss. So make sure you tune in to Scanner Monkey TV. Zoom is at 9 p.m. Eastern, I don't know, 6 o'clock Western, and wherever you fall in between there. If you're one of those goofy central states or something, figure it out for yourself. Sorry, I'm not that good. It's 9 o'clock Eastern.
Oh, and it's actually Michelle Darden who's the star of the show. Mendy's frantically waving his hand.
Oh, okay.
He's making an announcement at the beginning, but the show is Michelle, which should be really good because boy, does she know her category.
Yeah, she's the beauty queen, basically, correct?
Yeah.
So yeah, I met Michelle last year at ASD. She's a She's incredible. High energy, high, just bubbly personality, and yeah, definitely knows her stuff. But tune in, catch Mindy's announcement. It is awesome. What's he putting up there? The $1,000,000ideas.info. Really, a .info? Nobody's going to go to that. But anyway, if you want to, you can try. Nobody is going to type in .info. That is just unnatural. I want to throw those couple of things out there. Threads and Treads open all month. Scanner Monkey TV is a must-see tomorrow. And that's it. It is 9 o'clock. We're going to wrap this up. Any final thoughts you would like to share with us?
Me?
Yes.
Oh, I wasn't prepared for that.
I'm sorry.
No, except, yeah, I think Leron called it out. I really think that knowing yourself, understanding your strengths, work with your strengths, not against your strengths. One of my favorite sayings is bloom where you're planted. You know,
that.
Life sends us all kinds of advantages and challenges. We've all got advantages, on where we live or our life circumstances. And we've all got challenges. Or did I say both of this? Anyway, we've got advantages and we've got challenges.
Yes.
So the point is to know what they are and work with them. And remember that your challenges can make you better too. I mean, don't go, oh, woe is me. Attitude matters. I could go on like that for a while, so you better shut me up. Right?
No, I agree wholeheartedly. I've tried just about everything in this business. I found the parts that I liked. I found the parts I didn't like. And I just have kind of banked on my strengths, the stuff that I'm good at, the stuff that I enjoy doing, which funny how those two kind of go together. That's what I focus on. The stuff that not so much, I either find someone else to do it for me or I just don't do it. If it's an option to just not do it, I don't. Like taxes. No, just kidding. No, pay your taxes. All right, that's it. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you to everybody in the chat room who joined us live and to all the people watching the replay and catching it. I appreciate everyone who watches and listens. So Karen, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you. And thank you, everyone who's been here and all the wonderful comments. That was fun.
Absolutely. You are welcome back anytime. So
thank you.
All right, guys. Hopefully you got some good information. I know I did. Hope you have a wonderful night. Go make some money. We will see you next week, Wednesday, 8 o'clock. We'll do it again. Night, guys.